and welcome to our second substantive lecture as regards this course on the CRIC, the Committee for the Review of the Implementation of the Convention. In this lecture, I will address exactly what the CRIC is all about, its structure, how it functions, and what it does. Firstly, the CRIC is a subsidiary body of the COP. In other words, it is under the COP. The COP has ultimate authority, as I explained earlier in the first lecture. So the CRIC is a subsidiary body of the COP. It takes its direction and its mandate as given by the COP. That's the first thing. Secondly, the CRIC is open to all parties. All 195 parties of the convention can participate in the CRIC. Also, it should be noted that other organizations and NGOs, CSOs can participate, but only if 1/3 or more of the parties do not object to that participation. So this is the nature of the CRIC. The CRIC has what is called a bureau. The bureau, a collective of people who run the business of the CRIC, and this collective is headed by a chairman. The chairman is elected by the COP, and the CRIC itself elects 4 other persons who are called vice chairs, and one of these vice chairs is the rapporteur of the CRIC. In other words, the CRIC bureau. In other words, when they meet, he takes the reports, he takes the notes, and so on. So the CRIC, when it's not in session, it is run basically by the bureau, which is headed by a chair. Okay. The other thing that is important about this bureau is that it is usually made up of a representative from each of the 5 annexes of the convention. As you know, the convention has 5 annexes, one for Africa, one for Asia, one for Latin America and the Caribbean, one for the Northern Mediterranean, and one for Central and Eastern Europe. The CRIC bureau is made up of basically 5 people. Now, if you recall, I said in my earlier lecture that the CRIC was first born at COP 5. We are now after COP 11, going into COP 12. In other words, the CRIC was born a long time ago, and the convention process has evolved. What can be called a watershed moment in the convention process is 2007, when the 10-year strategy was adopted. That strategy runs from 2008 to 2018. Now, if you look at that strategy carefully, you would see that it orders, or it gives the CRIC a completely new mandate, so to speak. It increases the functions and the role of the CRIC, and one of its main functions is that the CRIC is supposed to help to review the implementation of this strategy. So what we saw then, from 2008 onward, is a sort of different CRIC. The CRIC was reshaped. Now, this actual reshaping of the CRIC took place at COP 9. And if you look at COP 9 and decision 1 of COP 9, it clearly states there that the CRIC has been reshaped. And the CRIC is given 6 major functions, and it tells you 2 other things as to how the CRIC does its work. What is important here to note, though, is this, that with the reshaping of the CRIC, its function went from just merely reviewing the convention, but specifically reviewing the convention as regards the 10-year strategy. Now, the 10-year strategy is different from the convention in one way, one fundamental way, apart from the time frame, of course, which is 10 years. It is different because they are what we call indicators, things to measure the process of implementation. And the CRIC had to be reformed and reshaped to suit this. Now, outside of that, it is important to understand that this new or reform CRIC had to have new sets of relations. These relations are spelled out in the very same decision, but they also spelled out in decision 11, COP 9. So within those 2 decisions, there are other decisions, for example, decision 13, COP 9, which gives you an appreciation for what the CRIC does. However, the new terms of reference maintain some basic things, such as the composition, which I discussed earlier, of the Bureau. It maintains some of the general role of review of the implementation process. But it goes further and it tells you who are the stakeholders that the CRIC should review. So what you see here, therefore, is what I call the evolution of the CRIC to meet the new demands. Ultimately, though, what you need to understand about the CRIC is this. It is the fundamental instrument of the convention process that deals with reviewing the implementation, and it does this by considering reports which are sent in by all country parties, affected country parties that is, and reports which are sent in by the other partner organizations which are involved in the UNCCD process. So basically, the long and short of it is this, that the CRIC is fundamental to us knowing exactly what is happening with the implementation process. And we only know this because the CRIC is able to review the process. And it does that reviewing by considering reports from all stakeholders. I hope you've enjoyed this lecture. As I've said before, I want to remind you that you should read the suggested reading materials and the readers that we have provided. We are also available for any consultations you want on this. At the end of each module, don't forget to take the quiz and to sending your completed forms to us so we can then determine whether or not you have attained the mark to get the certificate. With that, I will see you next time.